I want to start off with the habit at number 10, and that is sadaqah. So sadaqah means to give gifts, and it's also a legal charitable giving. But for that legal charitable giving, the word zakat is used. Now zakat is called a sadaqah because it's also a kind of compulsory charity. It's an obligatory sadaqah, while the ordinary sadaqah is strictly voluntary. But you see, the Prophet Muhammad also performed sadaqah. He would regularly feed the poor and said he is not a Muslim whose stomach is full while his neighbor goes hungry. He also had a habit of helping orphans as well as caring for widows. Praying was also a habit of the Prophet Muhammad. There are many prayers that were personally said by the Prophet, and he uttered many prayers throughout his lifetime for various different reasons. Now, for Muslims, it is said that a prayer is more likely to be accepted if it starts with greetings to the Prophet. So of course, Muslims are encouraged to continue this habit and pray. Next up, we have being trustworthy at number 8. The Prophet Muhammad was involved in trade since he was a young adult, and then after that he shortly gained the title of Al-Amin, meaning the trustworthy. Then he was hired by a businesswoman named Khadija, and he was recommended to her by his uncle Abu Talib. Now there's one quote that says, "If you had requested this for the sake of a loathed stranger, I would have agreed. How can I refuse when it is for an honorable acquaintance?" And this is what she said to his uncle Abu Talib, because she was well aware of the Prophet Muhammad's reputation of being trustworthy. So do what you tell others that you're gonna do. That establishes trust. Definitely a great habit to have. Smiling is also a huge habit. Abdullah ibn Harith said, "I've never come across a person who smiled as much as the Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad regarded smiling to a brother as an act of charity." So yeah, we know smiling, it's like a magnet, and in most cases, the more you smile, the more people are just gonna be drawn to you. People don't wanna be looking at frowns. Sure, you can frown, but if you're frowning all the time, people are gonna be like, okay, I'm staying away from that one. The habit at number 6 is giving things away. So this is similar to number 10, but one of the habits of the Prophet Muhammad was that he liked to give things away. The Prophet Muhammad was never a hoarder or anything, and he wasn't really materialistic at all. But whatever he had, he shared it with his companions, no matter how little he had. And if anyone brought him a gift of food, let's say for example, while he was with a companion, he would always share it. Alright, so continuing now with the habits of the Prophet Muhammad, at number 5, he had a habit of giving attention to everyone. According to Muslim tradition, regardless of the age, the background, the color of the person, the Prophet Muhammad greeted everybody and made them feel as if they really were important and that they mattered. So when talking about the character of the Prophet, a lot of scholars would start using words and describe him, saying that whenever the Prophet was talking to somebody, he would literally turn his whole body towards that person to show that they had his full attention. So this is definitely a habit that Muslims are encouraged to emulate in their own life. Self-reflection is a habit at number 4. Now, it is known that the Prophet Muhammad used to retreat to the cave of Hira to seclude himself and therefore meditate, reflect on things. The habit of self-reflection helps in contemplating one's purpose in life, as well as it helps to reconnect with who we really are. So it's encouraged that every single Muslim takes time out to do some self-reflection, just like the Prophet Muhammad took time for himself ever so often to just get his mind refocused. Dental hygiene comes in at number 3. Now, the Prophet Muhammad used to always brush his teeth using what is called miswak, which is a teeth cleaning twig. Now, in the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, it was recorded that he said this, and I quote, "Make a regular practice of miswak, for verily it is the purification for the mouth and a means of pleasure of the Lord." So yeah, he recommended the entire hygiene of the whole mouth, teeth and gums included, your tongue as well, all through brushing your teeth and washing out your mouth with water at least 3 times throughout the day. Having good mental health is the next habit that we're going to look at. The Prophet Muhammad taught his followers to have a peaceful mind through really just accepting life changes pretty much. So he warned them to not be consumed by anxiety, depression, or anger. Even one statement found in the Hadith says this: "A man said to the Prophet, 'Give me advice.' The Prophet said, 'Do not get angry.' The man asked repeatedly, and the Prophet Muhammad answered each time, 'Do not get angry. In other hadith, which by the way are the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, he said this: "The powerful man is not the one who can wrestle, but the powerful man is the one who can control himself at the time of anger." Modern health studies have shown that anger can raise your chance of getting a stroke, as well as it weakens your immune system. So it's a really good habit just to, yes, feel the emotion of anger, but don't be super consumed by it. Anger can lead to a whole lot of other things that can really impact our mental health negatively. And finally, a very surprising habit of the Prophet Muhammad at number 1 was sleeping on the right side. This is referred to as vamkushi, and in the Islamic tradition, sleeping on the right side, especially in the early stages of sleep, is very recommended according to the Prophet Muhammad. Now, it is stated in the hadith that the Prophet Muhammad used to put his right hand under his cheek when he wanted to go to sleep. Now, it's said that modern scientific studies have also shown that there's a lot of benefits in sleeping on the right side, especially benefits for your heart. Starting at number 10, the Prophet Muhammad ate less. The Prophet Muhammad used to eat less to really prevent diseases and sickness, and over time, science has really shown that eating in smaller portions actually helps to fight many different diseases. Now, in the hadith, it says, "The son of Adam does not fill any vessel worse than his stomach. It is sufficient for the son of Adam to eat a few morsels to keep him alive. If he must fill it, then 1/3 for his food, and 1/3 for his drink, and 1/3 for air." The next habit at number 9 that the Prophet Muhammad used to have is he used to drink water slowly. Today, science does claim that drinking water at once can cause things like headaches and dizziness, as well as imbalance in the blood electrolytes, among many other things. So drinking water slowly actually helps you absorb the fluid and get the most benefit out of the water. In the hadith, there is a passage that says, "Do not drink in one gulp like a camel, but in 2 or 3 gulps. Mention the name of Allah when you start drinking and praise Him after you have finished drinking." Staying fit is the habit at number 8. So according to Muslim beliefs, 3 out of the 5 pillars of Islam actually keep humans fit. There's a prayer, which it can also be seen as a form of exercise actually, and of course now science does tell us that exercise keeps the heart and brain healthy. It helps your blood circulate, and the Prophet Muhammad even encouraged physical exercise. Another statement from the hadith says, "Teach your children swimming, archery, and horse riding." And in another passage he says, "Practice archery and horseback riding." Of course, all of those are physical activities. Prophet Muhammad also had a habit of waking up early. So he used to start his day by waking up super early for the Fajr prayer. Now, waking up early is linked scientifically to being more productive, as well as there's links to better mental health in general, even if it's 15 minutes earlier that you're waking up. So we talked about eating less, but Prophet Muhammad had a habit of also eating slowly, and it's something that he promoted. Now, we know it takes about 10 to 20 minutes for the body to register that you are full. So eating slowly actually helps you eat less food and also improves your digestion. All right, so let's jump into the last 5 habits of the Prophet Muhammad. At number 5, we have the habit of fasting. So fasting was a regular practice of the Prophet Muhammad, but not even just during the month of Ramadan. He would fast on Mondays and Thursdays, and this is actually similar to the intermittent fasting practice that's become a lot more popular now over the years. And this practice really does balance hormone levels as well as reduce overall inflammation. In the hadith, it says that the Messenger of Allah was keen to fast on Mondays and Thursdays. But it's not just starving yourself for the sake of starving yourself. There are ways that you can fast, as well as if you do have some underlying conditions, medical professionals don't recommend fasting. But if done right, yes, there are quite a bit of benefits in fasting. Pomegranates comes in at number 4. Now, the Prophet Muhammad really liked pomegranates, and really now research has shown that pomegranates are one of the healthiest foods in the entire world. They're also very high in flavonoids as well as polyphenols, which are antioxidants that really help prevent heart disease. One passage in the hadith says, "Pomegranate and its rind strengthen digestion." But it's not just pomegranates that have benefits. Eating dates also has benefits as well. So dates are very good foods to break your fast if you're a Muslim that's fasting, because they help to stabilize your blood sugar levels as well as rebalance your blood electrolyte levels, and also help jumpstart your digestive system to prepare to have more foods as you continue to eat over the day if you're fasting. Now, one thing I didn't know about dates is that they actually boost your oxytocin production in your body, and they can also help to speed up labor. The hadith says Allah's messenger used to break his fast with fresh dates before going to pray. Now, another surprising habit of the Prophet Muhammad was that he ate together. The hadith says, eat together and not separately, for the blessing is associated with the company. Apparently, sharing food and enjoying food with other people has proven to reduce stress as well as improve family and romantic relationships. And this is something that the Prophet Muhammad used to practice himself. Not saying that you can't eat alone. There's sometimes people just aren't around or you just want to eat by yourself. But eating together with others does have its benefits. And the final surprising habit was he avoided sleeping on his stomach. Of course, due to the weight of the spine, adults and even babies are told not to sleep on their stomachs by many doctors, because this kind of sleeping can actually have negative effects on internal organs as well as your spine. Now, in the hadith, there's a passage that says, the messenger of Allah came out in the night to check up on his guests and saw me lying on my stomach. He prodded me with his foot and said, do not lie in this manner, for it is a way of lying that Allah hates.
So first up on the list is milk. We already know that milk is associated with strengthening the bones, and it has many other healthy effects for the human body. The Prophet believes that milk cools the body and mind and is very helpful for the eyesight. The Holy Prophet used to love having milk from goat and camels. Back then, during the Prophet's time, drinking milk from the camel or a goat was very common. Next up on the list is barley, which is used in the form of flour to make bread. The Holy Prophet said that barley is very essential for humans. When barley is cooked in the form of hot soup, it is really good for fever. Barley is considered to be one of the world's healthiest nourishment. Modern scientific research has proved the great effects of this food on health. Grapes are considered to be one of the most consumed fruits in the world. Medically speaking, it is proved to be helpful in purification of blood as well as cleansing of one's kidney. The Holy Prophet was fond of grapes and would eat them keenly. In the Holy Quran, it was mentioned to be one of the fruits of heaven. Next up on the list are figs. Figs are linked to curing stomach problems. They are good for bones and are used for curing constipation and piles. Figs are actually known to be one of the most desired foods by the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet himself labels figs as one of the fruits of paradise. On number 6, we have a pumpkin. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's favorite vegetable was actually pumpkin. Pumpkins are not easily available, but they're loaded with benefits for the human body. It is medically proven as a source of lowering prostate cancer, protects from the swelling of joints, helps with the wrinkle on your face, as well as protects your vital organs. Olives along figs are mentioned to be one of the foods of paradise, as it's mentioned in the holy book, the Quran. Olives are considered to be an excellent means of treatment for skin and hair. It is known to slow down the process of aging. The Prophet used to take it himself, and he would suggest it to other people because of its great healing effects. Next up on number 4 is honey. Honey is considered to be the best natural therapy for curing almost every disease. The Holy Prophet would preach that honey is the remedy for every illness. When honey is mixed with hot water, it can be used to cure stuff like diarrhea. When honey is mixed with pepper and ginger, it helps cure stuff like coughing and mucus. And fun fact, honey is the only food that never spoils. On number 3, we have melons. As we know, melons are rich in water and energy. They are also known to be really good for fertility. The Prophet used to say that no woman who eats melon during pregnancy will fail to give birth to a child with good character. Next up on the list, we have pomegranates. They have multiple healing benefits ranging from cancer prevention to improving digestion. They are a good source of antioxidants, which removes free radicals, protects cells from being damaged, and reduces inflammation. The Holy Prophet also said that while eating pomegranate, it cleanses you of evil thoughts and evil deeds for about 40 days. So number 1 on the list, we have dates. Dates are a powerhouse of vitamin and minerals as well as a great source of fiber. The Holy Prophet praised dates a lot. He would eat them whenever he had the chance to. He said that a house without dates is no house. Another thing he mentioned is that eating 7 ajwa dates, which is a type of dates, in the morning will protect you from any sort of witchcraft.
Starting at number 10, we have eating in moderation. The Prophet Muhammad really stressed the practice of eating less to prevent sickness as well as disease. And the Islamic practice of eating in moderation, it suggests that your stomach should be filled about a third with food and a third with liquid and a third with breath. And if we look within the past 20 years, studies have shown that mindful eating can help you reduce overeating as well as binge eating. You know, when we have those cravings, we just want to keep on eating. It helps to lose weight, reduce your BMI, and also cope with stress and anxiety. Next up at number 9, eating slowly, not just in moderation, but also taking your time to eat your food and to chew it. Now, it has been narrated that the Prophet Muhammad was a strong advocate for people eating and taking their time, eating slowly. It really helps with the digestive process. Science tells us today that it takes about 20 minutes for the body to tell your brain that we are full. Eating slowly helps digest the food because when you chew your food efficiently, it doesn't require so much energy of the body and the muscles in your stomach and intestines to work to break down the food because you've chewed it, you've taken your time, so it really helps your body out a lot. Number 8 brings us to fasting. There's a lot of studies now about fasting and the importance of fasting and how it impacts our health. The Prophet Muhammad is somebody that would actually fast not just during the month of Ramadan, but also he would fast on Mondays and Thursdays, and even on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of every single Islamic month. Now, intermittent fasting, it's a new trend. It has increasingly been becoming a lot more popular because people are now aware of the benefits of the body. Fasting helps with weight loss, it improves insulin sensitivity, it really helps to bring up your metabolism, and it actually helps to reduce hunger so we can reduce some of those hunger cravings that I was just talking about a little earlier. Another benefit is that it actually helps to boost your immune system. Number 7, here's an interesting one, male circumcision. Well, not interesting, but I'm sure a lot of you didn't realize that this would be something that we'll be talking about in this episode. But in Islam, it's actually compulsory for all Muslim males to be circumcised. And then according to the website webmd.com, male circumcision has quite a bit of benefits. It helps reduce the risk of urinary tract infection. It reduces the risk of sexually transmitted diseases in men. It also helps prevent penile cancer, among other benefits. Another health practice in this episode is eating black seeds. Islamic teachings say that eating black seeds should actually be a part of someone's daily diet. According to the Islamic writings of the Hadith, Abu Huraira, he stated this: I've heard from Prophet Muhammad that there is a cure for every disease in black seeds except death. So whether it's in a seed or powder form, the seed of kalanji, it actually can reduce obesity and help your digestive system, and also reduce blood pressure and treat congestion in the body. Also, kalanji oil can help to reduce pain and inflammation. And number 5, we have honey to treat infections. In verse 69 of Surah 16 in the Quran, it mentions that honey is a source of healing for mankind. And specifically taken from the Quran, it goes as follows: Then eat from all the fruits and follow the ways of your Lord laid down for you. There emerges from their bellies a drink, varying in colors, in which there is healing for people. Indeed, that is a sign for a people who give thought. And this is in reference to honey. Honey offers a great antioxidant and immune boosting properties for our bodies. And it not only helps to fight off infections in our bodies, but it also helps tissue to heal. Not to mention, it can reduce your risk of getting the cold or the flu, and also treat acne. Number 4, brushing your teeth. This one is a given, even without knowing that Prophet Muhammad used to practice this. Prophet Muhammad, he encouraged his followers to use a twig siwak because it helps to cleanse the mouth. And this is also specifically mentioned in the Hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari. And of course, as we all know today, brushing your teeth really helps to clean the food that builds up on our teeth, and it helps to prevent our teeth from decaying. It helps the gums not get infected, and we don't have to walk around with stinky bad breath. Number 3, taking a nap in midday. I know some of us would love this, especially if you're at work and it's a long, busy, stressful day. Taking a brief rest or nap at midday, it's something that's actually mentioned in the Hadith, and it's recorded that the Prophet Muhammad had this to say: do Qailula because the devil does not rest. And it was also narrated from Ibn Abbas that the Prophet Muhammad said these words: seek help by eating suhoor for fasting that day, and by taking a brief rest at midday for praying at night. So the Prophet Muhammad actually practiced this. He would sleep during the day, and he urged Muslims to do the same. You'll also now find a lot more health professionals saying that taking a nap, known as a brief power nap or something during the days, actually can help increase your productivity. Okay, number 2, this one was also a pretty interesting one: sleeping on your right side and also ablution. In Islamic culture, sleeping on your right side, especially in the early stages of sleep, is actually recommended according to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. It was a custom of the Prophet Muhammad that when he slept at nights, he would actually sleep on the right side on a pretty hard bed. So having a firm surface to lie on is pretty important here too. It's reported that the Prophet Muhammad had said these words: before sleep, abstain as ablution for prayer, then lie down by the right side. And apparently sleeping on your right side is also good for digestion and blood circulation, since both the heart and the stomach, that are important internal organs, located on the left side of the body. And then sleeping on your right side is so that they don't undergo any sort of physical stress. And then finally we reach to number 1, and this has to do with mental health. The Prophet Muhammad taught his followers to have a peaceful mind through acceptance in life changes. He actually warned them not to be all wrapped up in anxiety and depression or anger at all. It's reported that Prophet Muhammad had these words to say: a man said to the Prophet, "Give me advice." The Prophet said, "Do not get angry." The man asked repeatedly, and the Prophet answered each time, "Do not get angry." Prophet Muhammad knew that if a person controlled his anger, he would be able to control everything else. This is why the Prophet mentioned in another hadith, the powerful man is not the one who can wrestle, but the powerful man is the one who can control himself at the time of anger. Anger opens a whole lot of doors to various different bad qualities, and also health studies have shown that anger can raise your chances of getting a stroke or also a heart attack, and it also weakens your immune system. So really taking control of your mental health helps your physical health as well.